Hey everybody, Adam Savage here in my cave with a book that I recently came across. I think one of the algorithms fed this to me, which I'm always a little suspicious of that. But nonetheless, this book showed up in my feed and interested me enough to go get it. It's called The Book, The Ultimate Guide to Rebuilding Civilization by Hungry Minds. I will tell you, there is not a listed author of this book that I could find, nor was I able to discern information about an illustrator, which again is like I don't love that. But this book is remarkable, and I really dig it. If you go look for reviews on this, you'll find a lot of. This is like what do you call this? I would call this a prepper's comic book. Back when I was younger, a wonderful book came out called The Way Things Work by David Macaulay. Macaulay. Let's say Macaulay because it looks like Macaulay Culkin. David Macaulay wrote this book called The Way Things Work. It includes a lot of really lovely, amazing illustrations, breaking down all sorts of things from locks to machines. And it did this in a style that was like if Leonardo da Vinci had not become who he was, but had done fabulous comic book and children's book illustration. David Macaulay has that kind of line. Woolly mammoths show up constantly in the book as a sort of repeating character. And it was one of those books where the drawings were so intricate and so they rewarded your attention, so that I spent hours and hours just flipping through the pages, looking at stuff again, looking for stuff I had missed. The Way Things Work, completely important, seminal, illustrated book about a lot of how the mechanical world actually works, and gives you sort of very lovely broad overviews of large concepts rendered in a way that was clear. And here comes this book, The Ultimate Guide to Building Civilization. That's not what this is. This is not all we need is this book and we don't have to talk to anyone else. This isn't that book. This is also like a prepper comic book, similar in a vein like The Way Things Work. It is packed with illustrations. It covers everything. It starts with fire and ends with an entire chapter on society, rites of passage, channeling aggression, storytelling, cities, festivals. Rites of passage stuff gives me a little pause. But I mean, there's stuff on breathing and meditation, art, music, tools, building mechanics, optics, electricity. And in each one of these things are broad overviews of these concepts with really lovely illustrations that contextualize what they're talking about. There's a lot of fanciful stuff going on in some of these illustrations. But this brought back all of these memories of The Way Things Work. This is fascinating. Anatomy and blood. He does an illustration of a cut apart human figure. And you can see in this figure, there's see that's kind of intense, right? Like the wires holding the figure open. The thing is that if you really want to freak out, go Google Vesalius, Vesalius, who was a contemporary of Leonardo da Vinci's, or he came just afterwards, an amazing anatomical illustrator. And he would, go to places where they processed and dealt with dead bodies, and he would hang them from trees and draw their internals. And this was a brand new art. No one had documented what was going on inside the bodies until these guys, or I don't want to say it that. That's not a correct fact. I think the more correct way to say it is few humans had entered into a studied and methodical breakdown of the internals of the human body. Few Western artists. There we go. I don't know what was going on in the East at this point. They could have been way ahead of us. Same thing in Levant. Who knows? But in Western civilization, Not many had undertaken such a methodical approach to documenting what was inside the human body as Vesalius. And his anatomy books are spectacular and amazing, and they also are gross in some really phenomenal ways. So he's quoting Vesalius here in this book. We talk about blood and antigens. I'm a generalist. And my subtitle for being a generalist is I'm mediocre at a whole wide range of things. But the generalist in me loves knowing enough about a wide range of things to start to figure out how they fit together. It was a funny thing on Mythbusters whenever we were investigating an area of science that we needed help with from an expert. The first person you look for is like the world's greatest expert in that thing, right? You wanna investigate the bounce of rubber balls. If you want to investigate the bounce of rubber balls, you're going to call up the guy who's published the most scientific papers on the bouncing of rubber balls. The problem that we found on the show is that when you call those folks, they're often at such a peak of knowledge, understanding of their specific slice of the world. They're so specialized that they can't actually help contextualize how that fits into the rest. That's not a detriment. Like, everyone chooses their own way to intersect with the work that they're doing. We just found on the show that the world's greatest expert was often less helpful than a few notches down, someone who understood that discipline enough to know how it fit together with other disciplines and other physics concepts. This book is a generalist's dream come true. It is almost 400 pages long, illustrations and writing on every single page, and I find it very, very readable. This is a terrific book to have on a coffee table. It's like really great to go over at the end of the day. And again, the illustrations are just absolutely lovely. Look at this. I'd love to know more about the illustrator. I'd love to know more about the writers. Until then, I recommend this book. Oh my gosh, martial arts. Look, they're showing you. They even show you some fighting techniques in which you pull out somebody's spine at the end. There's a lot of humor built into this. A guide to rebuilding civilization. It is not. And a lot of the internet commentary in where this book has been covered are people like, oh, it's stupid. You couldn't learn about farming from this. And the answer is, why would you expect to from one single book? But inspiration comes from all sorts of different places. And generalists are always looking to overlap and augment our knowledge of how the various parts and chunks of the world fit together. And this is a beautiful addition to my library. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you everyone for joining me for this show and tell. And I will see you guys next time. Cheers. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to tell you about some brand new merch we have. One of my favorite things we've ever produced are our demerit badges, which are scout badges for messing things up, as we all do. They're bestsellers, and we started out selling them as patches, then we moved to stickers, and now, ladies and gentlemen, we have demerit badge magnets for your fridge or your machines, and we started out with a 4-pack of our greatest hits. You can find these right now at tested-store.com.